Now I am going to tell you about the basic spare parts used in this laptop repair industry. First of all, these laptop adapters. This is a laptop AC adapter. The rating of this adapter is written on the top. Rating means what is the output capacity of this adapter. This is a 19.5 volts, 4.62 amperes with this kind of pin. This is a Dell 90-watt adapter. The different laptops have different voltage ratings, so you have to purchase the adapters according to voltage rating of the laptops. Then comes the DVD writers. DVD writer. Two kind of DVD writers are used in the laptops. These DVD writers resemble each other in physical structure. The difference between these DVD writers is the physical connectivity. One has SATA connectivity, serial ATA, and one has IDE. It is also known as PATA, parallel ATA connector. This serial or IDE connector or PATA connector DVD writer was used in older models, so you need not to keep much stock of these writers, as these are getting extinct these days. This kind of SATA configuration DVD writers are used in these days, so you will get much replacements for this kind of DVD writers. Then comes the hard disk. This is a hard disk, 500 GB. The 500 GB Western Digital. It is of the hard disk comes with a brand of different manufacturers, Seagate, this Toshiba, and different capacities. This is 250 GB, this is 320 GB, this is 500 GB, and furthermore like 1 terabyte, 1000 GB, 2000 GB, 2 terabyte, 3 terabyte. This is a processor of the laptop. This is Intel, this is AMD. Two kind of brands are now in market, the brand manufacturers Intel and AMD only. Now you can see the backside of these processors. These are gold plated pins. So while installing a processor, match the pins with the socket. If you put it wrong way, then you are likely to damage the pins. So if the pins get damaged, the processor will be damaged. You have to purchase a new processor. Nowadays processors are coming in this kind of BGA chips. This is a BGA chip. This is not a processor, this is a Southbridge chip, the PCH, Peripheral Control Hub. It is mounted like this on the motherboard, same chip. This is a Southbridge. So this is a BGA chip. I am telling you about the BGA chip, the ball grid array. These are the balls that are placed on top of this chip, and this chip is placed like this on the motherboard and soldered with the help of a BGA station, ball grid array BGA reballing station. Do not do this work with the hot air gun. You will damage the motherboard as well as the chip. Then comes the RAM, random access memory. Three types of RAMs are available in the market. DDR1 RAM, DDR2 RAM, DDR3 RAM. The physical structure of these RAMs, the size and shape, it is same. See, no differences there in size and shape. But the number of pins are more in DDR2, DDR3. In DDR2, the pins are less. In DDR1, the pins are lesser than 2 and 3. The operating voltage of this DDR1 RAM is 2.5 volts. It operates on 2.5 volts. DDR2 operates on 1.8 volts and DDR3 RAM operates on 1.5 volts. This is the frequency, working frequency is 1300 megahertz and goes up to 1600 megahertz for DDR3 RAM. The frequency of this DDR2 RAM is 800 megahertz and DDR1 RAM it is 300 megahertz. So the efficiency is much more in DDR3 RAM. Then comes the Wi-Fi cards, the wireless interface cards. With the help of these cards, you can access the local area network and the internet. These are Wi-Fi. These Wi-Fi cards are installed on the motherboards on this PCI slot like this. See, and the screw is fastened up to hold this Wi-Fi card. On the top of this Wi-Fi card, you can see small holes. These holes are for the Wi-Fi antenna. If the Wi-Fi antenna is not attached on this Wi-Fi card, then you will get a poor coverage, poor signal reception. This is the inverter. This is known as inverter. It receives DC voltage, DC input voltage 19 volts from this end and gives a output voltage to light up the lamp in the LCD. LCD only. This inverter is used in LCD. See, like this. It generates 600 to 700 output volts. So do not touch this inverter when it is working. You may get an electrical shock, heavy electrical shock. All right. So like this, the physical connections I'm going to show you. The inverter is connected this way. This is the signal cable. This is the connectivity port of the LCD liquid crystal display. See, like this. This end receives the data from the motherboard. This is connected here on the motherboard, and one cable goes to the inverter. 19 volts and 5 volts gets in the inverter, and output is 600 to 700 volts, and this is a signal cable for the LCD. Nowadays LCDs are not used, LEDs are used. Physically from the front they resemble each other, but if you look at the back side, there is no place for inverter. No inverter is used. The backlight is mounted here. The LED strip, LED, light emitting diode. It receives the power from here and goes to LED strip. The connecting wire of this LED strip is like this. This is the interface. This wire is connected on the port here. This is for the camera. The camera you use for chatting purpose only. This is connected on the motherboard. No inverter. So the main advantage of this LED over LCD is power consumption and brightness. See, the CCFL lamp, the cold cathode fluorescent lamp you use in the LCD are prone to damage. They weaken up with the passage of time, and light starts decreasing. After some time, after few years of this CCFL, cold cathode fluorescent lamp, gets damaged and the display gets dark. Whereas in LED, light emitting diode, they have a much longer life, very long life, and brightness is much more in this LED. So this technology is used nowadays, and one of the most important advantages, the power consumption. Power consumption is very less in this LED. These are the DC jacks. The place where you plug in the adapter, the DC adapter of the laptop. See, these DC jacks come in various sizes and shapes according to the laptop and the pin of your AC adapter. These DC jacks are soldered like this. This is a Sony Vaio. So the DC jack, it is attached with the wire on this DC port of the laptop. This is a heatsink compound. This is applied on the top of a processor or a graphics card like this to make a proper contact with the heatsink. After that, the heatsink is placed like this. This ensures a proper conductivity and heat transfer from the processor or graphics chip to the heatsink like this. I will show you on the motherboard. See, this is the heatsink, this is the cooling fan, and underneath this there is a processor and the graphics card. See, see, the paste is applied on both sides, on the heatsink and on the processor. So this ensures a better conductivity and heat transfer. This is a ATI Radeon graphics card. See, the processor is mounted in this way. This is a screw, tilt it anti-clockwise, and the processor will loosen up and get outside. This is a Core i3 processor, a second generation Core i3 processor. See, I was telling you earlier how to install a processor. If you install it the wrong way, it will not get in this port, and if you apply pressure, you will damage the pins of this processor. There is a marking on this processor here across a pointer. Match the pointer with this socket and then place it over. It will itself go inside the port. You need not to apply the force. Then move the screw clockwise. The processor is tightened up, and after that install the heatsink over this processor. There is another component on the motherboard, the CMOS battery. This is a small cell, a 3-volt cell. This is used to store the information in the BIOS chip. The date and time it is stored with the help of this battery. When this battery fails, the date and time on your motherboard gets disrupted, and every time you have to set the date and time when you start the computer, the laptop. See, this is a basic structure of a laptop motherboard. I will tell you the parts identification on this motherboard. This is a type of coil. The coil, it does the function of filtration of the current, of the voltage. And this is a capacitor. There are different types of capacitors. This is a tantalum capacitor. This is a ceramic capacitor, this brown in color. These are the MOSFETs, the 8-legged MOSFETs. These are 3-legged MOSFETs. And the ICs, this is the IC, square-shaped IC. The legs are on the legs are on all the 4 sides of this IC. This is a BGA chip, the graphics card. See, there is a difference between new model and old model of laptop motherboards. The major difference is the chips, between the chips. See, in the old models, there is a processor, a south bridge, the PCH, peripheral control hub, and a north bridge. The north bridge is here, underneath this heatsink. See, this is the north bridge, this is the south bridge, this is the north bridge. The south bridge controls the peripherals, all the peripherals, the USB, the LAN, the hard disk, the DVD writer, and this is the north bridge, the RAM and the graphics card. The graphics and RAM interface is associated with this north bridge. So similarly, the faults you can identify accordingly. If there is a USB fault or a ID DVD writer fault, it is controlled from here. The power circuit is also controlled from this south bridge. If there is a RAM error or the graphics error, means there may be a problem in this north bridge. See, in the new motherboards, there is a processor and only one BGA chip. In the older models, there were 2 BGA chips, the north bridge, the south bridge, and the north bridge. In new motherboards, there is no north bridge, no south bridge, only one PCH. The peripheral control hub. I misspelled this earlier, this is a ICH, the interface control hub, not the PCH. The PCH is here in this motherboard, the peripheral control hub. The both functions of the south bridge and north bridge, these functions are integrated in PCH only. So there is much more workload on this PCH, so heat is also associated with this. If the workload is more, the heat will be more. The processor and PCH both will generate much heat, so the cooling fan and heat sink should function properly to keep the laptop running cool and calm. This is the RAM, the random access memory. This is a DDR3 RAM. It is installed like this. See, these are the locks. If you want to pull out the RAM, simply slide these locks outwards and the RAM will come out like this. This is the DVD writer connector, the SATA connector. The DVD writer is connected like this. This is the hard disk connector, sorry. The hard disk is connected like this. Over here. This is the DVD connector, DVD writer. It is connected, the DVD writer is connected in this way. In this way. Here is the hard disk, the DVD writer. This is the Wi-Fi connector. The Wi-Fi card is installed over here, and the LAN interface. Here is the LAN interface. This is for networking and internet access. The VGA port, video graphics adapter. Here you can install an external monitor, the projector, or a big LCD screen. This is the HDMI port. HDMI, high definition media interface. This is for high definition graphics. USB port, the audio ports, microphone, and the audio jack, earphone out. These are the card reader slots. You can access the camera cards, your mobile phone's card from these slots. The battery connector. This is the battery connector. This is the LED screen connector. The LED screen is connected over here. This is a 40-pin connector. This is a 40-pin connector. In all the laptops, there is a 40-pin connector for the LED screen. The keyboard connector. This is the keyboard connector. The touchpad connector. This is the touchpad connector. These are the basic connecting points for a laptop. This is the DC jack. You apply the DC voltage over here. This is the positive red one, the negative. The 19.5 volts input come here on the motherboard. This is the fan connector, the cooling fan. This fan, this is a 5 volts DC fan. It is connected over here on this port. These are the 3 wires. The positive is for 5 volts DC, negative ground, and the yellow wire is for fan RPM detection, rotations per minute. It detects the speed of fan and it regulates the speed according to the temperature. Means if the laptop is much hotter, then it will send more voltage to the fan and the fan will spin at high speeds.